flavour.
But I'll tell you what though, you feel good when you're on it. It's a nice brew, I've got to just taste the best. So hello everybody, welcome to the Chaos Theory podcast. This is our podcast from Chaos Gym, which is where we are at the moment. I'm Jack, I'm one of the coaches down at Chaos Gym, and this is Jamie, the owner of Chaos Gym, and also just in-house guru on everything. So today we're going to cover a topic around eating basically, and well, a bit more specific, a little bit of eating around training as well, and kind of the timings and stuff that you can start thinking about to have a better impact when it comes to your training. So as you get more experience with your training, you will notice that your food does impact that a little bit with your session, or quite a lot actually with your session. So that comes down to kind of foods that you're eating, and times as well that you're eating these foods. So that's what we're going to kind of break down today a little bit.
Yeah, so the important thing to remember is that all of this stuff has an element of individuality to it. So everything we give you is a basic framework. It's up to you to then work out how you respond, how you feel, how much you're getting out of your training, how much you're getting out of your sleep. You need to be aware of all these things and start to piece it all together and maneuver your food timings and your bedtime and your training time to find out what is going to work best for you. So it's a continuous process that you're always trying to improve.
So we'll cover kind of three different times then for training. So most people have a training in the morning, afternoon or evening. So we'll cover those three different times and give you guys a little bit of an idea how to structure your eating to get the best out of your training in those three different periods. So starting with the first one, then we'll go with morning training. So
yeah,
what's the most important thing then, do you think, with morning training?
So
nutrition?
if you're an early trainer, then you need to be thinking about your nutrition the night before. Mm-hmm. So your last meal really is what's going to help fuel that that session. So you go big evening meal.
Yeah. Then
you've got breakfast would need to be, depends how early you can get it before training. So if you're going to train at 7 a.m, for example, and you're eating at 6 or half 5, then that will need to be quite light. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to train at 9 a.m, and you're having breakfast at sort of half 6, 7, then that can be a decent breakfast.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously you need to adjust that depending on how the time between your last meal and then your training session.
And how you feel again, like it's always good to keep touching on that.
Yeah, definitely. We would recommend a big meal the evening before, and then just your breakfast at least an hour before your training session.
Yeah.
And then eat as soon as you're finished. Mm-hmm. So that would become one of your main meals of the day then. Your lunch would be one of your biggest meals.
And that'll be a thing that kind of stays along all three, really. As soon as you train, you could do with getting a big meal in, just kind of replenish yourself a little bit. So that's morning training really then. So going into afternoon training, so if you're going to train around midday, it's slightly different.
Yeah, slightly different. So at that point, your evening meal is less important. Mm-hmm. And then because you know you're going to get a good breakfast, so nice big breakfast, and then you've got 2 hours before your training is the last time you'll eat really. Mm-hmm. Unless you're kind of a late afternoon, then you can get a snack. So big breakfast, eat again around 11. And then you might have a snack around 12 to train at 1. Yeah, okay. If you're training earlier than that, then you probably go without the snack. You might have a coffee or something 30 minutes before. Yeah, okay. Just introduce some caffeine.
Yeah. The other thing is as well that we could do a mentioning is in your meals, it is a good idea to try and boost the protein up. We were saying before that a lot of people struggle with getting their protein in. So if you can keep it as a conscious thing that you look to get 30 to 40 grams of protein in each of your meals, then that's a good starting point basically to get your protein in through the day.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone that we come across at the gym is protein deficient. It's the first thing we concentrate on is get them to eat more protein, get them to eat more veg, and then obviously we look at calories and macros after that. But most of the time, if you can get more protein in your diet, then it helps level everything else off, because it has a satiety effect, which means you feel fuller for longer. Yeah. Which obviously helps beat off cravings and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, and it is the number one thing that we see people struggle with is
easy.
getting that protein in. So yeah, keep that as a conscious thing. 30 to 40 grams of protein each meal, and then you should be all right. So the final one then. So if you train in the evening, again, it's a little bit different. You've got a little bit more time through the day to get your food in, but the principles still kind of apply. You want to try and eat two hours before your training session.
Yeah.
And if you can, get a snack in there as well, about an hour before. Give you a little bit more energy for your session.
Yeah. So if you start with the end in mind, so if you're going to train at around 6, you would have a light snack around 5, a good meal at 3ish, and then you would be lunch and breakfast. So that's a really good run in there.
Yeah.
That's why sort of late afternoon, early evening, that's the best time to train, because you still get the opportunity to refuel after with another meal. And
to be fair, most people probably will be training like that, because most people's days are obviously structured around your work. So you work like generically 9 till 5, and then you train kind of after work anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So it does give you a better opportunity to fuel yourself through the day, and then have a better training session then on the night as well. Yeah. With still time to refuel, which is important.
Yeah. So if we go over a couple of examples, so I tend to train mid-afternoon, because we have the gym open in the morning and the gym's open in the evening, and there's like a 4-hour gap there where there's not a lot going on in the gym, so that's when I train. So I eat breakfast when I arrive at the gym, so that's 9 o'clock most mornings. Then I will have lunch at 12, and then I will have a snack around 1ish. So for a 2:30 start, I'm eating 3 times. That just kind of shows you where you need to be at if you're in the afternoon. Yeah. Because skipping food and then going to train it's just no good.
Yeah, you're just never gonna feel good doing that.
It's no good. Like the amount of stress on your body when you're trying to lift weights or do some fitness or whatever, it's really high. So unless you're fueled on caffeine, which if you're training late, it's no good either. You're just not going to get through it. You're not going to get the most out of it. You're not going to recover well. And long term, you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah, mentally it's taxing. If you're having to force yourself through like hard sessions, because ideally, every session you're going in, you're wanting to train hard to get the most out of your session. If you're having to drag yourself through those sessions on no fuel, even if you're caffeined up, it can be mentally taxing.
Yeah, it's hard going. So just you have to find a pattern of behaviour that works well for you. You will know the kind of ins and outs of your day and your week, really. Most people know the ins and outs of their week. Obviously things pop up, but most people's week is fairly structured. So you have to piece in the parts where you say, I can definitely get to the gym there. Yeah. And if I'm going there, this is how I prep for it. Yeah. And then you just have to make that as easy as possible.
Yeah, and try and just work to that. Try and just work as close to that as possible. And again, like we were saying before, everyone's slightly different, so you do have to play around with it a little bit. But that's kind of the beauty of having a plan. You can kind of look back then and see how you felt. If you think back to your session and think, oh yeah, I went to that session and actually I was feeling a little bit tired, and you go, well, I ate 2 hours before and I didn't get anything in the middle, well, maybe you need a snack in between that time. You need to kind of feel that out a little bit and consciously think about how you feel going into your sessions and how the sessions went. Which again is a good reason for having the plan, so you can look back and say, this is how I structured my eating on this day, and this is how I felt going into the session as well.
Yeah, definitely. You need to know what you've done before and how you felt. It just makes it easier to adjust.
In fact, find the things that work for you, and just try and stick to them. Because again, talking about us and our training, our eating and stuff. So I'll do the same thing. I'll come to the gym, and I'll usually have a client in 8, something like that, and I will try and get something in as soon as I get to the gym, but I'm not really good at eating straight away, so I will just have a shake and something like a banana or something like that, and it's not massive calories, but it's giving me enough sustenance there. If I then eat lunch and get a snack just before I train, I feel good off that, whereas if I tried to force loads of food in the morning, I just wouldn't stick to it. I'd just be feeling like crap basically. So you have to make it achievable as well as beneficial. You need to make sure it works for you as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can keep it up. Sweet, cool. Right, thank you guys.